that's when you travel.
Okay.
We're just going over a question. We haven't started the class right now about traveling prayer. So in the Hanafi school, we mentioned that you have to travel at least 48 miles to be able to shorten your prayer. So in the Hanafi school, we only shorten, we don't combine. So when Dhuhr time comes, you pray 2, and then you have to wait till Asr prayer comes, and then you do 2. And then you have the Maliki school, that Hanbali school, and the Shafi'i school, all the rest of them that allow combining. But there's even some details about that. But let's say, for example, you could pray Asr, Dhuhr and Asr together, and you could pray Maghrib and Aisha together. But even with that, you have to travel a certain amount of distance. So from Garden Grove to Disneyland.
We didn't pray Qasr. Okay, we didn't pray Qasr. It wasn't.
Oh, it was a full 4.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's even more strange.
That's what bothered me. It was like we're praying like 4 Zohar, Fard, and then we prayed for the Asr Fard with the Zohar Salah. Okay, so it wasn't a Qasr. We didn't pray Qasr because they said no, this is not Qasr. And so.
So you were still in the Dhuhr time?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's even stranger.
Yeah, it wasn't Asr.
Because I was going to say, if you guys shorten it, there's like the Hanbali school would say you could shorten without a reason, kind of. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to rain. It doesn't have to be traveling, which is it's an opinion that people go crazy with. I don't like narrating that opinion, but there's a little bit more talk to that. But yeah, I don't know why someone would do that for.
It bothered me. I did it, but it bothered me. So I just wanted to make sure from you.
I would love to find out what the thinking process was in terms of
Never
that.
before to some Arabs,
Yeah.
like it's mainly from the Arabs, I don't know.
Right. We have the verse in the Quran, in the Salat of Kitab al-Mawqut, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that the prayer has been prescribed for you for appointed times. So you have to pray at the appointed time. So in the Hanafi school, we don't combine at all. Only in Hajj is the only time you'll do that. And I'm trying to think, I don't know why someone would do that. That's really interesting. I can't find an opinion for that right now. I'm not too sure what they would
They say
think.
don't pray Maghrib with Isha when you go home. But I didn't listen to that. I just
No,
heard
yeah.
Maghrib.
It's convenient to be at Disneyland so you have more time for rides, but that's not one of the Sharia approved reasoning. But anyhow, inshallah. I will begin. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. اللهم ينفعنا بما علمتنا ولم ينفعنا وزدنا علما يا كريم يا رب العالمين. Alhamdulillah, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless all of you for coming. I know the 91 was causing a lot of issues. A lot of people were coming late. So may Allah reward you for that struggle you're going through. As there is a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ says, whoever goes out for seeking knowledge, the angels will be with them on that path to going to the class and coming back. So that all will count of it. We have this cat that is from across the street, but I don't like cats very much. I mean, not as an animal, but in terms of fuzziness and stuff like this and cleanliness. Reminds me of Egypt so much. That happens in Egypt all the time. I think it wouldn't happen in America, but it does. So anyhow, so that's a little bit about. I have no idea what I was saying actually now. So anyhow, let's we have the hadith that we're going to go over today. Hadith number 10 and 13, Imam Nawawi rahimahullah's collection. I was going to start off the class, even though we lost a lot of time, but I'm going to still do it. We had a hadith last week that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that every matter that is not from our deen, it will be rejected, right? I think so actually we were here last week, yeah. And then I know you guys were here also. So that the Prophet said that anything that's not from our religion, one from the matter, will be rejected. Basically, if someone innovates something that's not from our religion, then it will be rejected. And then we went over that there are 6 conditions of how you know that if this is from our religion or not. So I wanted to bring up the issue to make this practical. Because this class is, we just talk about theoretics, we're not going to get anywhere. So we have the issue where somewhat recently you have women that are, because of maybe of feminism and maybe because of them being rejected from the masjid and not having a place to really voice their opinions, that started like a women's mosque. Right? So you have women that are doing Jummah khutbahs now, and they're doing not just leading the salah, that's another issue, but so in terms of that, what will be opinion if a woman wants to come and do a khutbah just for women? Forget about no men are there, right? Once we throw men in there, I think the answer would be a little bit easier. So would that be allowed for us, especially for those, only a couple of you were here from last week? Would that be allowed in the Sharia? Would that be allowed in Islam? Or would be objections to that? If they're just women, that's okay because no men are there. What can we say something about that?
I would say if they're just women, it's okay because women have their other classes. It's the same thing if she's talking to women or women doing salah together, it's all allowed. And women being an imam of a woman is allowed, right? So why is the khutbah not allowed there?
Okay, interesting. Good. Anyone else? Anything? Those are 6 things that we mentioned last week that if you want to test if this is from the Sharia, this is from the practice of Prophet or not. So we talked about what? Number 1, purpose. Why is that being done? We talked about if somebody will go enter their house and they pray 2 rakats every time. And you ask the brother, why are you doing that for? This is the sunnah of the Prophet. And you say, well, there's no purpose. There's no sunnah that said that when you enter your house, then you pray. Enter the masjid, we know that. The greeting of the masjid prayer, we have that, right? So we say that purpose is invalid, so that's rejected. If you want to do it just because of thankfulness, you got home safely, or just because you love Allah and you want to pray, that's good. That's fine. But to say that the reason why I'm doing it is because I entered my house, that's another issue, right? And then we talk about form. For example, if someone does an act that's not from the form that we know, for example, someone does sujood before they do the ruku', the form is off. Therefore, that's rejected. Someone said this is the way we need to pray. We also talk about time. If someone says, you know what, at 2 o'clock every night, if you get up and pray, Allah will accept your prayer. Well, we know about the last third of the prayer, but someone says exactly at 2 o'clock, then that will be something that's rejected. We don't know anything like that, if you will. Place, we talked about in terms of, you know what, if you pray at Masjid Aqsa, you get this much reward. If you pray at this person's grave, you get this much reward. Then, okay, hold on, what's the reason of that? If that's rejected, then boom, we take that out also, right? So we talked about that also. And then the 5th one we talked about also, and I'm actually forgetting myself now. Form, place, timing, what's something else I forgot? There's 2 more that we remember. Sorry?
Misha?
Sorry?
Quantity?
Quantity, right, there you go. So, right, quantity. So someone does 5 rakats instead of 4, right? And then category, there you go, category. So someone says, I slaughtered a horse for Eid. We said, brother, what are you talking about a horse for? He's all, I slaughtered the animal, it's not a problem. I have the meat here, you want to take it? That's another issue if you want to take horse meat. But he said, no, brother, there's a certain category of animals that are allowed to slaughter to count for that worship. When we talk about sheep, goat, cow, and camel, this is what we know in the Sharia. But if somebody wants to slaughter a goose or a chicken, it won't count as your zabiha for. If you want to eat that, that's fine. But turn on for Eid al-Adha, right? Someone does that for Eid al-Adha. I want to distribute the meat. We say this, we don't know that from the category of animals, right? The category of worship that we have. Now let's go back to that question about a woman praying or leading or doing the Jummah khutbah. So from what I just told you, from time, place, purpose, category, form, right? From all these different things, the woman giving a khutbah, does that validate any of what I just said right now or no?
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't invalidate, sorry. Anyone else wants to try to have another opinion for that?
You said it invalidates?
It doesn't invalidate any of these 6 things. So number 1, actually, here we go. Purpose, reason, category, measure, quantity, form, time, and place.
Well, with purpose and reason, like you said, if somebody's not allowed to something, then they might invent something new.
Mm-hmm.
Here, this thing is like nobody's stopping women from coming to masjid or coming praying together. So I don't see a purpose and reason behind it.
Well, the purpose is like, if a lady gets up starting a khutbah, what's your purpose for doing that? Oh, because it's Friday, it's 1 o'clock, right? Well, that's time and place. So, okay, we'll shake her, we might not shake her hand on that, but we'll say, you're correct, right? So she's like, why are you doing this for? Because it's Friday, so that's my time. And the place is to be here at the masjid and to do a khutbah. So technically, you're okay. Now, form, right? I'm going to give a khutbah and then I'm going to pray afterwards. I'm not going to pray before and then give a khutbah. Okay, sister, you're okay with that. Measure and quantity. I'm going to do a khutbah for normal time, 20 minutes or whatever it is, sit down and get up and do a second one, right? That's fine. We know the Prophet did that. And then I'm going to pray just 2 rakats after. I'm not going to do 3 or 4 or 5. So your quantity and measure is okay, no problem, right? Now, category, right? Category. So is this category of worship you're doing part of way of Sunnah? It's a Jummah khutbah. That's part of the worship we know in Islam, right? We don't do Jummah khutbah on Tuesday or Wednesday or something else. That's time and place. But category meaning that, is this from the acts of worship we have in Islam? It's one of the categories of it. Jummah khutbah is part of that. Eid prayer is part of that. The 5 daily prayer is part of that. The sunnah, the witr, right? If somebody does introduce another prayer, we have a prayer that we do anytime the stars, I see a falling star. Like, no, we have an eclipse prayer you could do, but this is not in the category of prayer. So I saw a falling star, I'm going to pray 2 rakats. No, that's not part of the category of it. So Jummah prayer is part of the category, sister, you're okay. But the way that you're doing it, right, the form, is that correct? Because what we know of, only from the Prophet ﷺ, that is what? Only men are the ones that give the khutbah at his time, right? So we might say that your form, the way you're doing it, is not fitting. But she said, like just how the sister was saying that, hold on, that we have in the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ where Aisha and Salima, they led the prayer of women. Okay, so leading the prayer of women and extending that to a khutbah, that could be argued, right? That could be argued. So what we know in general that men lead the prayer. Then we have this small exception here where Aisha and Salima led the women in prayer. An only women crowd, right? So therefore it's confined to that. So here the scholars have said that if you have an exception to a rule, you cannot take that analogy and try to apply it to something else. Because this is just an exception. For example, wiping of the socks. Some people said, I want to just wipe on my hijab. I don't want to take my hijab off. It's just a lot of work, right? We say, no, you can't do that. Because what we know is that you're supposed to wash your feet. So this is just exception. We know wiping on the foot is not the same as washing. Everyone knows that, right? So here you can't say, you know what, well, the Prophet wiped it, all right. But see, the mind makes you think that. This is what I think. This is my rationale. But true, right? So, but you cannot take that analogy. The scholars have given really strict rulings on doing it. PS, we call this analogy. So if a man gives a khutbah, if a woman is allowed to lead a prayer, then why can't a woman go and do a khutbah itself here? You know what some of the scholars have said? That if a woman leads the prayer, that she should stand in the middle of the line and not in the front. You ever wondered why that was? Why is that for? It's only women. So if she's up in the front, she's bending down, there's only women looking at her. There's no men, so why doesn't she just stand in the front and lead the woman? Why does she have to stand in the middle of the line for? What's the reason for that? One of the scholars talked about the reason for that is that she does not stand in front of the women to act like how men can carry out their prayer. So therefore, to make it a little, distinguish me a little different. In Islam, you have a lot of things of trying to do tashbih, where you're trying to make them look like how men do, how the men pray. So change the form a little bit. Yeah, you can lead the prayer, but stand in the middle and stand maybe 1 foot ahead or just in the same line, right? Because that's how the men, so don't try to be like them, right? As almost mimicking. That's why we said the women don't make adhan or don't make iqama. Because that's what men do. They yell out loud and they call people. So the women, you don't do that. You can lead yourself in prayer. The Hanafi school said the women don't pray in congregation at all. For them, they say that's dislike. So every woman just go in your little stand in rows and your own self and pray yourself. Right? Other schools, the Shafi'i schools said that's allowed. Right? But they said the woman should stand in the middle of the line. So to be distinct, not to be like the women. So here is the big difference of don't try to chase after being like men. And that's what the feminist movement tried to teach you. That all you women, you guys have to lift weights. You have to try to do boxing. You have to be a basketball player, right? You have to, cut your hair short, right? And be like, and try to be CEO of companies. It's almost like trying to be whatever men is, go and chase after it, and then that's freedom.
Equal.
Right? Equal. Just now you have been on the pinnacle of the world. Islam is like, no, Allah SWT says, right? The men is not like the women, right? They have similar roles, but they're not the same, right? It's just not, right? You don't have to be trying to be a weightlifting champion. Like, men are a little bit stronger than women in terms of muscular build, right? Yeah, you could lift weights all you want, and so some women that probably could knock any of us out, you know, honestly, right? But that's not the case. We have a role. The men here, if we want to have a baby, try to have it, you know, but that's just not our role. We could try all we want, it's just not going to happen. It's just not, you know. And we want to have breastfeed, it's not going to happen, right? It doesn't really matter. I want that closeness to my child. It's not going to happen to you, right? So this, Allah subhanahu give us certain roles. So here in terms of that, that is something that Allah subhanahu gave to men, and the Prophet never, and during his time, he had women who were the most scholars, Aisha radiallahu anha, Fatima radiallahu anha, but you never seen them leading women, or necessarily in a khutbah sense. Yeah, the Prophet was alive at that time, there's no need for another person, right? So therefore, this fit every single role, you need to innovate something else. So that would be rejected. And all the scholars have talked about that. And now, but people through their own intellect saying, no, let the women go ahead. If a khutbah, big deal, no problem, right? And then and that you see how the door opens up. And now that you can go to some of these women mosques that they have now, there's even men in the congregation too. And they even pray, sometimes even side by side now, right? And you see this liberalism kind of comes in because the Prophet gave us a certain tariq and a certain path. Just follow it. There's no need to add spice sauce and salt and some peppers to it. Just keep it the same. You know, everything is going to fine. But then we have, you know, this ideology that comes in from whatever outside Western sources or some other sources, and then we start thinking with our mind that I think, you know, that we're backwards a little bit. You know, I think we need to change a little bit, and that's where the problem comes. You know,
Richard, there's this also, you know, sponsorship behind these actions also, right?
Very much so. Oh, a lot of money is told like the,
Right.
and that's why you see these gay Muslims and lesbian Muslims
Yeah.
out there. They're the ones on CNN because they want to push this agenda, and like this is like freedom. This is what a free world should be like. You know.
They have a you know, gay mosque in San Diego now. And there's
Was that yeah.
Oh yeah, there's a long video of the sheikh of the
Yeah.
mosque, you know, posted on YouTube.
Exactly. And then people twist stories. They said like, you know, about Lut alayhi salam. They said like, no, there wasn't homosexual at that time. There was actually rape that was going on. And so it wasn't people doing it by their free will. So here people are doing it by their free will. A man wants to marry a man, you know. So therefore it's different than that story. So you see how they twist everything. I'm like, there's no tafsir for that. There's no standard for that. It's your desires that are coming out. So I think the reaction for a woman mosque, a woman giving a khutbah to women congregations is a lot of it's because backwards, you know, wrong thinking from what we just went over. That's why this hadith and studying this hadith is very, very important. And also it's because our mosque, unfortunately, don't give a space for women to teach and have certain roles, if you will. And that kind of leads to pressure where people's like, forget about this much. They give us a little corner and we can have a little TV that doesn't even show exactly, can't even see the imam, and we don't even have air conditioning back there. And they're like, forget about it, you know, and we want to do our own thing. And that's another problem, right? So that needs to be talked about also. So this is a couple thoughts I wanted to go over from the hadith from last week and kind of just mention that.
There's another example, like a couple of 100 years ago, taking picture was considered shirk.
Oh, yeah.
And then as time went by, people realized that you cannot travel without ID and picture, and then people's opinion and even religious scholars' opinion changed to the point where it's not even a debate now.
Right. Well, some of this is opening, right? Microphone, you know, like, you know, that was never used before, that comes in. We say, okay, we could take that in. You know, that's not a bid'ah, that's not something innovation, if you will. You know, these carpets with these special lines and a little, you know, like, is that okay, if you will, you know? And so all these things, like, you know, there's leeway for it. But something like this, where to change up the ibadah itself, where there's actually now a woman's giving a khutbah now, that's something not done before. And you can see the problem with that now. You know, first of all, it's not obligated for a woman to go to Jummah, right? It's another issue. But now you see opening another path now where the women are going to go to this mosque, not going to come to the main one. And there's a lot of, you know, problems with that. You can see how it comes up. And it's not that the man wants to dominate the prayer. We only want the mic. You guys just listen. Right? No, there should be women scholars also. Maybe that's a Friday night program then. They could talk then. That's not a problem. Or a youth group or some other conference. We just had a Sharia conference at IOK yesterday. I mean, qualified women speak. You know, my wife spoke. You know, she said it to us, you know, this not as anybody that goes up and speaks, right? So I know she spoke. So if there's a qualified system, we should definitely have them out there, and they bring a lot of other things to the table that men don't think about. And I would agree to that, definitely, right? And so those people, so that's very important to have that, for them to come up. And sometimes I get arguments, you guys have a scholar council, where are the women? And I like to throw back the question, I'm like, where are the scholarly women in our community? Like, how many sisters that we know that have got a degree in Islamic studies or, have some type of proper, I'm only doing this class not because I'm Joe Smo, but I went on a study for a reason, right? I mean, and whether I'm qualified or not, you guys could decide that. I'm not going to say that, but it's just, we want proper people speaking, even on the men's side. And unfortunately, even on khutbahs, we have just a guy who's an activist in the community, will give a khutbah. I'm an engineer, I don't know. I only know 3 surahs. But unfortunately, they're the ones that give a khutbah sometimes, and that's an issue also, right? So just a couple of thoughts I wanted to go over from the hadith from last week. So anyhow, we need to cover the hadith from this week.
So the women can't lead Tarawih or any other kind of prayer, or is it just restricted to the...
So just the Jummah khutbah. So we have a precedence for salah, right? We have a precedence for the Prophet allowed Aisha to lead a women congregation. And some people said that was only for the reason for teaching the girls. So some people narrow it, that was just for teaching. So that women should just say that they have their own Dhuhr prayer, their own Asr prayer. And now you're taken away from the mosque now, you understand? But if they're at home and they're all by themselves, they're not going to go to the masjid, for example, they're there, then it's okay for them to make their own one, right? And alhamdulillah, they get, inshallah, they get reward for praying together. Like I said, the Hanafi school has a little difference of opinion on it, where they don't allow congregation. They say it's disliked, right? You shouldn't do it. And there's some more conversation to that. If we go into that, we'll probably not get to the hadith that we're discussing today. But the Shafi'i school allows it, if you will. But to take it on one more step for Jummah khutbah, then we see an issue. And then how about their own Eid Salah? Why not? Right? And then you see now we're into, and one thing is, from the hadith from last week, the hadith was that, whatever one makes a issue or that's not from our religion, it's rejected. And the second hadith we covered from last week, guys, remember the hadith from last week, was about doubtful matters. Whoever stays away from doubtful matters saves their religion and their honor. But whoever falls into doubtful matters falls into haram. Right? And that hadith should solve everything right there. Right? It's doubtful that a woman should be given khutbah because we know how the Prophet never did it. Nor did Abu Bakr allow it. Didn't want Uthman, without Umar. And these are the best of the people. And they had the most qualified women at that time. So you know what? Maybe we shouldn't do it. Right? So, and the other scholars have talked about that from all the previous generations and all the madhahib. For somehow they must have been wrong, and now here in America in 2017 we're correct. Just make you scratch your head. And that's why you have the hadith, whoever falls in doubtful matters falls into haram. So therefore stay away from doubtful matters. Go on your grave with certainty. Just try to live this life and don't try to go into these matters. And is it really going to change you that much that a woman gives a khutbah or gives Eid prayer? Is that going to make Islam that much better? We have other things to talk about. Right? We have a lot of other things that we will. But shaitan kind of whispers and then we kind of go on and we kind of get misled, if you will. Right? So just at some points, I don't know if that hopefully answered your question to example. So let's go over the hadith for this week. So we have a little bit of a long hadith, 2 hadith inshallah we're going to try to cover this week. Let's see if we get to them. Where the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam mentioned here, he says, إِنَّ اللَّهَ طَيِّبٌ لَا يَقْبَلُ إِلَّا طَيِّبًا وَإِنَّ اللَّهَ أَمَرَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ بِمَا أَمَرَ بِهِ الْمُرْسَلِينَ قال تعالى يا أيها الرسل كلوا من طيبات واعلموا صالحا وقال تعالى يا أيها الذين آمنوا كلوا من طيبات ما رزقناكم ثم ذكر رجل يطيع في السفر أشعث أغرب ويمد يديه إلى السماء يا رب ومطعمه حرام ومشربه حرام وملبسه حرام وغذي بالحرام فأنا يستجاب له. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam mentioned in this hadith here that Allah Almighty, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is tayyib, He is good. And accepts only that which is good, that is tayyib. And verily Allah has commanded the believers, me and you, to do what He has commanded the messengers, the prophets. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, in Surah Mu'minun, O you messengers, O you prophets, eat of the good things, the tayyibat, halal things, and perform righteous deeds. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in another verse, where He says, O you who believe, eat of lawful things which we have provided you. Surah Baqarah, verse 172. Then he, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, mentioned the case of a man who has journeyed, right, on a far distance. He's disheveled, meaning that his hair is kind of disheveled, if you will. He has wrinkly clothes, look like he's been traveling for a while. And he's dusty, right, because he's been traveling in the desert. And who spreads out his hands to the sky and says, "Oh Lord, Ya Rab, Ya Rab." While his food is haram, unlawful, his drink is unlawful, and his clothing is haram, unlawful. And he has nourished with haram, basically nourished his body with things that are haram. How can his supplication be answered? How can his dua be answered? So you have a lot of things that we could benefit from this hadith, inshallah ta'ala. Just go back, sorry about that. So the first thing, or Allah, let's just break down the hadith so we go one by one. Where the first thing that the Prophet mentions is that Allah is tayyib. What does tayyib mean? Right? One thing, Allah is pure. Right? And you say good. Right? What is Allah is pure? What do you mean Allah is pure? Well, it means that Allah doesn't have any shortage or faults in any of His attributes. When it says Allah is merciful, like extreme merciful, it's not like an inch of like non-mercy in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Like the most merciful you could think about. When Allah is able to do all things, all powerful, complete power. Right? And the world right now, that's easy for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? Not an issue. Right? He's also pure in His rulings. When Allah says, pray 5 times a day, don't do interest-bearing banking, His rulings are completely perfect and pure. There's no fault in it. No, maybe Allah didn't really mean this, or I think we should change this. No, it's pure. Right? And His actions, this earth is done the best way possible. Well, maybe the earth should have been this way or should have been that way. No, it's like everything Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created is exactly pure in the best way, if you will. And the opposite of pure is, we call it khabith. Yani that is filthy. Right? One thing when you enter the bathroom, make a dua, Allah, a'udhu billahi min al-khaba'ith wal-khubuth. Right? Allah, save me from the filth, and people say that means actually like shaitan and the devils. That's different interpretation. But things that are filthy, if you will. When you go into the bathroom, you don't want that on your clothing, if you will. Right? So that's what it means by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is pure. Then the Prophet says, and accepts only that which is pure. Okay? So from our speech and our actions. Right? So when we talk about our speech and our actions are pure, what does that mean? When you say something, it should be like pronounced in the best way. What does that mean?
Intentions are good.
Very good. Awesome. So if you took this class, you should understand that. Right? Intentions when you're speaking and carrying out your deeds. Right? Purely for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why you're here for class today is because you could learn more of the Prophet ﷺ, not to make me happy. Right? And say, oh, Shahid thinks that this sister is great and that brother is scholarly. Not because of that. Right? We have another hadith of the Prophet ﷺ that mentions that Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu says that if anyone gives sadaqah equivalent to a date, yani, let's say a couple coins or a dollar bill, that he has earned honestly, that he earns from tayyib sources, if you will, right? Allah accepts that which is lawful, which is tayyib. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will accept it with His right hand. And even if it be as small as a date. And He will foster it in His hand as one fosters a colt. A colt is like a small horse. Until it becomes big like a mountain. What does that mean? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if you donate something for the pure reasons, not to say people think you're rich and because you're a pious person, Allah will accept it with His right hand. Now does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have a hand like me and you? No. But here you can say that what it means here, that Allah will accept it. Right hand usually means that Allah will accept it in good faith. Allah will accept that from you. Like in English we say we have a right hand man. What does that mean? You have a good friend, a guy that will back you up. He's my right hand man, always helping me out. I can count on this guy, if you will, right? So even in English, right means something that is known as what? As good. It's not just Islamic thing. We eat with our right, you step in the masjid with your right foot, right? And even in English, in our society, we have that concept also, which is interesting when you think about it, right? So Allah will accept it and foster it. Maybe He'll multiply that reward for you. So here the Prophet talks about something that is tayyib, something that's done pure. Same word he uses in this hadith here. Then it's mentioned that the Prophet mentioned after that, And verily Allah accepts only that is good. I think I covered that already. Right, yeah. So only thing that is good, when we talk about your wealth, what does it mean that your wealth is pure? Like you have you clean the check off, you clean the dollar bill, you blow on it before you put it in the donation box. What does that mean?
Coming from halal sources.
Halal sources, right? What does that mean? Halal sources.
Like there's no illegal thing involved in it, no corruption.
Right. You work for a business that is a halal source, if you will, right? You make money you have is not from an interest-bearing banking. Look, I got $100 extra from my 1% or 2% of my savings account. Thank you, Bank of America. Okay, let me add that in. Let me another point. Some scholars have said that if you get interest from banking, say some savings accounts give you like 1-2% sometimes, right? So at the end of the year you get some extra. Scholars said that is haram for you to use, right? Because that's through interest banking. We all know that's understood, right? So what are you supposed to do with that money? Some scholars said that you should donate it. Oh wait, hold on, donating haram money to the masjid? Does that make any sense? So some scholars said because you need to get rid of it, so not to go and put it in your backyard and light a fire, because you're kind of ruining wealth, which is not also good. So they said you could donate to the masjid, but you won't get no reward for that. You're just trying to get rid of that out of your hands, so you have these hands will be safe on Yawm al-Qiyamah, right? Some scholars said no, you shouldn't even donate to the masjid, but you should destroy it, right? But that's even a little worse, right? So even if you wanted to give it to the masjid, maybe someone on the street, right? You might see someone at the stoplight or something like that, just to get rid of it. But there'll be no reward for it. Obviously, because you got it from what? Haram sources. So there's no reward for that masjid. You're just trying to save yourself. Because the bank is giving you this free money, you can't really say, I don't want it or something. There's no really policy. Sometimes there's no non-interest, no free interest banking or savings account. You can find some of those, right? That's out there. So if you can do that, that's better for you if you will, right? So basically, your work that you use. So how about this? How about if you work for a bank? You're a teller, right? Or you're the IT guy at Bank of America. You just do the IT stuff, right? But Bank of America most likely is getting what? They're involved in what? Interest. Majority of their money, so when they give you your paycheck, oh, I got $1,000 from Bank of America today. Oh, no, brother, Bank of America is all into interest banking. That $1,000 is from, most likely interest haram sources. You can't use that money. You should. So what should that person do? Is that true?
There are two different things here. One, he's working hard. He's not getting money for free. He's not spreading something which is not halal or something. But
Good.
in a way, I feel it's right. Then in another way, it's okay. It's coming from the source which is coming from. It's wrong. But then
Right.
you.
Right. I like this actually. There's a lot of rationale behind our thoughts. So very good, which is good. A lot of us think about that. And what happens is that we have to understand, that's why we have to take classes, we have to know principles. So we have a principle in Islam, when money changes hands, it gets dissolved of whatever impurity it was beforehand. For example, some brother comes in here, say, Shahid, I want to give you $100 to donate to this class. You could buy books for it or, new laptop. But I know that brother owns a liquor store down the street, right? We all know haram, what you're doing, brother, you shouldn't do that. He's like, I know I'm working on myself, I know I need to change my business. But anyhow, this is $100 that, I got, this is a guy for my business, here. So here, do we not take that $100? We say, no, brother, I know you have that liquor store down the street, and give it to some other person. Maybe some other person you can find in the community. So we have a principle that when money changes hands, that $100, there's no connection with what source it came from. I don't need to look and say, brother, you got it. You were from, you have a liquor store, or this was whatever it may be. So here, when it changes the hands, then there's no fault on that person, right? Now, to the same extent, there's principles like, for example, if the Trump casinos or some casino in Las Vegas come and say, we want to give you this money to the ICNA Center, right? Okay, we have a principle that says wherever money changes hands, then we have no problem, right? We learned that in class the other day, right? Here will be a little bit different in terms that it could be that's true. They could donate money, we could take it. But there's a lot of morale behind that, and there's a lot of other things so that we could think about that. Maybe that's not the best thing we want to do. If that gets out in the public, people might not like that, etc. That doesn't have a good sign, if you will, right? And I always bring this story of this example. If the gay and lesbian club comes here or organization comes to this masjid and say, you guys are Muslims, like, yeah, we want to do a program with you about the liberation of Palestine. I know usually the gay and lesbian community is really big about anti-war and stuff like this. Are we allowed to work with them or not? Can we do a program with them or not? This is a big issue with the MSAs on a campus, right? Some people say, oh, you know, you guys have this thing about Palestine, we want to join in and co-sponsor the program for you. So a lot of youth come up to me like, are we allowed to work with them? Are we not allowed to work with them, right? So there's a lot of things to say about that. Honestly, it's going to take another 30 minutes for me to explain that. But so the thing is that you are allowed to work with them, but the scholars will say that you should be the front runner, right? They should be following you. You should not be leading and then you joining them, because that looks kind of bad to the extent. Where do I get this from? Am I just talking out of my head, right? The thing I always want to know where the proof is, especially in today's world, you want to know what people are saying certain things. So number one, you have the instance of the Prophet ﷺ, who said that when the Quraysh was writing up a treaty, where they said that if anyone comes to Mecca and they get oppressed, we will help that person, whether they're from our tribe or an outside tribe, right? They call it Hifl Fudul. It's a very famous incident in the Seerah of the Prophet ﷺ. And the Prophet said that, you know what, I'm a prophet now, but if the Quraysh, the pagan worshippers, the drinkers of alcohol, the adultery, promoters, if they would sign this treaty today, I will participate in it. So what is that telling us? Now, by the Prophet signing a treaty with the Quraysh, that, you know what, if anybody gets oppressed in Mecca, that we will help them. Does that mean the Prophet is sponsoring their shirk? Does that mean the Prophet is sponsoring their alcoholism? Or does that mean that he's agreeing to all the Quraysh's principles? No. That means in terms of this point here, about fighting oppression and fighting someone's wrong, we'll shake your hand on it. But doesn't mean that we support your idol worshiping, right? We support you drinking alcohol and you guys killing Muslims. And this is what the Prophet said, even though he knew that they were oppressing Muslims. So you can work with somebody on a certain point, right? But it doesn't mean you approve everything. How about another example let me see how good you guys are. Go ahead.
I don't know, I'm a little iffy about what you just said about MSAs working with the gay, lesbian, because I was part of MSA one time myself. And so, when you're that young, your iman is not
Very good.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
And as a teenager or whatever, late teens, early 20s, you're at MSA, right? And then plus, aren't other groups, and in MSA there's all kinds of Muslims, right?
Right.
And here we're working with the gay and lesbian group. I don't know, I feel like it's going to show that we are supporting them and it's okay to do.
Exactly.
Okay.
Very.
So it should, I feel like my opinion, I would say to my children, keep them, okay, don't come close to them. Don't, because you might get influenced somehow, somewhere, and then people are going to say, oh, I'm going to say working with.
Awesome. Great point. So the scholars say that's why we always say this kind of like a case-by-case basis. That's why I kind of didn't give you like a exact answer. I said that, you have to be on the forefront, the Muslims, and then they have their name very small on the end. They shouldn't be in the front, and you're like little small MSA on the bottom or something, right? And so this is, like I said, there's a lot of case-by-case basis that you have to go by. Now, if you know that the Muslim members of the MSA are kind of like weaky, man, they don't know any better, they're not being guided, then maybe that's not a good thing to do. But if they, usually, that's why college, they usually they should be in their 20s by then. So they're hopefully a little bit more mature. Doesn't mean they're smart about their deen, right? But in terms of this, that it wouldn't, from the proof I just gave you about the Prophet said that he will sign this contract with the Quraysh, and also we have another example within the life of Yusuf alayhi salam. Anyone know what I'm talking about by Yusuf alayhi salam? What point could we bring up by that? Where there's an example where we could derive from the life of Yusuf alayhi salam about working with non-Muslims.
Yes, the Egypt.
Where? Expand on it. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think he was the minister.
Very good. Minister for what?
Finance.
Oh, for what? For who? For the Muslim leader at that time?
No, king of.
From
Egypt.
the Malik of that time.
Yes.
So the Malik of that time was who? Was he worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala?
No.
Right? Who knows if they were doing alcohol, they don't know whatever they're doing, but they were idol worshippers. But Yusuf alayhi salam said, no, I want to join your ministry. I could help you in the finance. Yusuf alayhi salam said that in terms of finance, I can help you out. But in terms of all the other nonsense, I'm not agreeing to your shirk. I'm not agreeing to your idol worship. I'm not agreeing to whatever other things. It's not really told in the Quran what else they were doing. But they know that they're idol worshipping for sure. Because Yusuf alayhi salam, when he was in the prison, he was talking about who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was to the individuals. So here again, another example here of a prophet, not just a normal, a Joe small Muslim, working with non-Muslim for a good cause of helping the finances of the country and helping those people. Because he knew that was best because he had the dream about what was happening. He let everyone else know about the dream. So caring for humanity, that you're helping them out, then that's okay. Now imagine that, a big flyer, Prophet Yusuf helps the pagan king on CNN. Whoa, hold on. That doesn't look good, right? But here no, only for this, if you will. It doesn't mean that he's endorsing that. When Muslims join up with Christians for an anti-war thing, Muslims and Christians, that means that they take Jesus as God? No. So it should be known that they're very clear on this stance. When you see a Muslim and Christian dialogue for about against Trump or against the wall, against the ban, Muslim ban at the airport, is anyone in the crowd thinking that Muslims think Jesus is God? Maybe one or two people might actually think that. But it should be very clear, like, no, this is our stance. That's why I say, I'm going to say, if you're going to work with a LGBT organization, lesbian, gay, bisexual, whatever, transgender, then it should be known that, you know what, we're not supporting your behavior. But in terms of helping the Palestinians, in terms of anti-war, in terms of oppression, that's it. And that should be stated in the program. I mean, that's really hard to get on the mic and say, we don't agree to their behavior, but we agree to helping the Palestinians. It has to be worded somehow like that. You have to work on your wording. It should be very clear what the objective is. So yes, there's room, but at the same time, you have to work out in terms of these policies, if you will. So you can kind of see how that is. I hope that kind of answered your question. I have no idea how we got on that tangent, though. I'm trying to think about how we got on that tangent. But I think we're talking about banks and stuff like this. But anyhow, hopefully you learn a lesson there, inshallah ta'ala. Ilm is it, right? So anyhow, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala only accepts us what is good. Next thing we have in terms of the wording of the hadith, the Prophet ﷺ said that, and verily Allah has commanded the believers to do that which He has commanded the messengers. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned, O messengers, eat from the tayyibat, the good things, and perform righteous deeds. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, oh, you believe, eat from the lawful things, and we have provided you. So there's a couple of really awesome things that we can learn here, right? Where here the Prophet said, well, whatsoever the prophets were commanded with, number one, then we should follow. This gets the idea out of people's head when people say, oh, those are prophets, we're just normal people, we can't be like them. Right? Sometimes you can't hear that sometimes, like people say it in the community. Right? Oh, that was the prophet also, that was him. Where we can't do what the prophet did. Like, kick that idea off your head. That's not, Allah subhanahu wasn't sent prophets down if that was a reason. Right? So that's a big lesson you could learn there. Right? Another thing here is that why did the prophets be reminded to work righteous deeds? Aren't they the ones already doing it? This is just a reminder to them. It doesn't mean that they weren't doing it. That means that continue this work, right? Keep them motivated, if you will, right? That's the reason why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned that. Let's go here. This is really quick here. There's a big lesson we can take here. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, O messengers, eat from the tayyibat, right? Legal, and perform righteous deeds. So what are the tayyibat? What does that mean?
Well, the food coming from the halal sources and all the boundaries, like which animals are halal.
Okay, good.
But need to be also good for your health and your.
Ooh. So let's take another ayah from Surah Baqarah, verse 168. Where Allah says, Ya ayyuhan nas, kulu mimma fil ardi halalan tayyiba, wa la tattabi'u khutuwat ash-shaytan. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, O you people, eat from the tayyib, eat from the halal, and then Allah says tayyib after it. So hold on, we have the word halal and the word tayyib. So what does this mean and what does this mean? What does halal mean? That it was slaughtered the right way. It's not dead meat that you found on the road, right? And obviously that means lawfulness. There's not alcohol, there's not pork in it, etc. Gelatin, all that stuff. What does tayyib mean? Healthy, right? And Ibn Kathir rahimahullah mentioned in his tafsir, that is good for the body and the mind. So here it's not talking about lawfulness here. So it's all talking about what? No greasy samosas, right? Not this, this, like, sorry to pick on Desi food, but, the meat just like swarming, like swimming in like this oily, you see those trays, I don't know why they do that for. Why don't you drain that? Are we supposed to enjoy that or something? Right? I was doing this class to sisters earlier in the week. Sister Farah is actually part of that class. And I was saying that, could you make samosa? Can you make baked samosas? Is that possible? Could you bake samosas, right? Just put it in the oven and just bake them, right? Don't have to put them in any type of oil. Why not try that way, if you will, right? Pakoras too, I don't know if you can make baked pakora. I don't think that works, right? Because there's dough in it, right? I don't know. But here's that, this is a big thing. And I was kind of saying in the class how I myself, I wasn't really a big healthy eater until I got married. My wife comes from a family where I call them like Nazi healthy people. Nazi is kind of a good word to use, but all about vitamins and take your ginger vitamins and take this other supplement and you take this, echinacea and all this kind of stuff. When I got a cold in our family, you go buy Contact, you buy Tylenol, and you take it, and hopefully you get better. My wife said, no, just eat a bunch of oranges and take echinacea and take vitamin C, and then you don't have to worry about these other things. I'm like, I don't know about that. And it actually works. It's not too bad. Actually, it's take honey, take some black seed oil. You'll see. You don't have to take all these other things, right? So that's another thing. But here is that eating healthy is like something we have missed from our community. But Allah commands this in the Quran. No one talks about this. And I just did a khutbah on this. I've been wanting to do it for the longest time about just food, which I don't think we won't talk about it very much in our Duma khutbahs, right? And that's why our community is like big bellies and stuff like that. And I was kind of semi-big belly guy. It wasn't that bad, right? And I'm on this current diet, and I think Brother Aslan will tell you about it, right? It's a little extreme diet, but anyhow, I don't want to go over it. People would think I'm extreme. But, whatever, lost like 16 pounds since the beginning of the year, which alhamdulillah, I feel so much better. You know what I mean? And let me just try it, and you guys are crazy, but let me just do it. And I feel like, wow, I was missing out on this in my whole life. Of not eating refined sugar, like use honey to sweeten your food. Allah talks about the shifa in the Quran, right? Even in your chai, put honey. It changes the taste a little bit, I know, right? All these different, in my coffee I put honey now. It does change the taste, but you get used to it, right? So, and this is something we need to bring back in our community, especially Ramadan's coming up. We're a couple, 2 months away, but still, like, challenge yourself. Like, what you eat for iftar, right? You could have veggies for iftar. You know what I mean? You could have the baked samosa, if you will. Dates. The reason why the Prophet ate dates because it just gives you that sugar rush, but you don't have to drink a bunch of sugar. But you have that, and it's beneficial for you. It gives you fiber. It gives you a lot of other things that are good for your body too, right? So here, we come back that we need to get back to our healthy bit, how we eat, right? In terms of how we make our food and what are we eating in portions. Also, portions is another thing. And I just brought up the hadith I was talking to you about Prophet said this, all you have to eat is this handful of morsels of food is enough to keep your back straight. If not 1/3, 1/3, 1/3, 1/3 for food, 1/3 for drink, 1/3 for your air. What happens, when you eat too much, what happens? You start burping, because no one else for the air to go, so you have to You have to release it somewhere else. Right, there's only 2 places to release it, but we're not going to talk about that. But anyhow, so here, if you don't have that room there, then that's an issue, right? And so here, there's actually a commandment in the Quran to eat from lawful sources, right? And